Somewhere in America right now, behind a locked front door, an elderly man is sitting in his recliner. The television is still on. The mail is piling up outside. The neighbors haven't seen him in days. But nobody is checking. Nobody is knocking. And by the time someone finally does, it will already be too late. This is not a horror movie. This is not a rare tragedy. This is happening every single day, in every city, in every state across the United States. And the most disturbing part? We have a name for almost every epidemic in this country: opioids, obesity, mental health. But the one silently killing our oldest citizens? We barely whisper it: loneliness. And it is not just making seniors sad, it is killing them. Let's start with something that should stop you cold. According to the United States Surgeon General, chronic loneliness increases the risk of premature death by 29%. That is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. Being alone, truly alone, is as deadly as lighting up a pack before lunch. Right now, more than 14 million seniors in America live completely alone. That is roughly 28% of everyone over 65. 5 million of them are men, nearly 10 million are women. And according to Pew Research, the United States has one of the highest rates of elderly people living alone in the entire world. 27% of Americans over 60 live solo, compared to a global average of just 16%. In countries like India, Afghanistan, and much of sub-Saharan Africa, the idea of an elderly parent living alone would be considered a family disgrace. In America, we call it independence. But here is the question nobody wants to answer. When does independence become abandonment? The Centers for Disease Control confirmed what researchers had long feared. Social isolation among seniors increases the risk of dementia by 50%. It raises the risk of heart disease by 29%. Stroke by 32%. And according to the AARP, isolated seniors cost Medicare an additional $6.7 billion every single year in excess healthcare spending. That is not a typo. Billions. Because loneliness does not just break hearts emotionally, it breaks them physically. A 2024 study from the University of Michigan found that 1 in 3 older adults still reported feeling lonely. Among those with poor physical or mental health, the number jumped to 75%. And for seniors who were not working and not retired, who were simply stuck at home with no purpose and no connection, 52% said they felt isolated. But perhaps the most chilling statistic of all comes from a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Researchers in San Francisco tracked elderly people who were found alone in their homes, either helpless or already dead. Among those who had been incapacitated for more than 72 hours, the mortality rate was 67%. 2 out of 3 did not survive. And the group most at risk? Men over 85 living alone, at a rate of 123 incidents per 1,000 per year. These are not just statistics. These are human beings who worked their entire lives, paid their taxes, raised families, and in their final chapter were forgotten. So, how did the richest country on earth become a place where grandparents die alone in their living rooms and are not discovered for weeks? The answer is painfully American. We built a culture that worships youth, speed, and productivity. We scattered families across state lines in the name of career advancement. We replaced front porches with garage doors. We stopped attending church, stopped joining civic clubs, stopped checking on our neighbors. According to the AARP in 2010, 44% of older adults regularly attended religious services. By 2025, that number dropped to just 36%. Community engagement is collapsing, and seniors are paying the price. Meanwhile, many seniors who do try to reach out are hitting a wall. 59% of older adults surveyed by the AARP said that communicating online instead of in person actually made them feel lonelier. They scroll, they watch, but they do not connect. The screen becomes a window they cannot climb through. And here is the cruel irony. 75% of adults over 50 say they want to age in place to stay in their own homes. But aging in place without a support system is not independence. It is a slow, quiet disappearance. Income makes everything worse. 63% of seniors earning less than $25,000 a year report feeling lonely. If you are old, poor, and alone in America, you are practically invisible. No one is coming. No program is knocking on your door with a casserole and a conversation. You are simply expected to manage until you cannot. And men are suffering in silence. The 2025 AARP Loneliness Survey found that 42% of men over 45 are lonely, compared to 37% of women. This is a reversal from previous years. Men are now the lonelier gender among older Americans. But because men are culturally conditioned to suffer in silence, they rarely ask for help. They just quietly vanish. One volunteer from a crisis response organization described it this way: "People do not know the tragedies behind their neighbors' doors. Sometimes they could have prevented these deaths. We had a case where neighbors worried they had not seen a woman living alone. They broke down her door and found her unconscious. She was hospitalized in critical condition. A few doors down, another person had been dead for 3 weeks before anyone noticed. 3 weeks. In the United States of America, in 2025. We spend billions on defense. We spend billions on healthcare. We even spend billions arguing about who should lead this country. But we cannot seem to find the time, the money, or the moral urgency to make sure the people who built this nation do not die alone on their kitchen floors, undiscovered for days." The Surgeon General called loneliness an epidemic. But epidemics get funding. They get task forces. They get prime-time news coverage. This one gets silence. So here is my question to you. When was the last time you called your grandparents? When was the last time you checked on the elderly neighbor who lives alone? When was the last time you even thought about the fact that millions of Americans over 65 have no one, absolutely no one, who would notice if they did not wake up tomorrow? The American dream used to include growing old surrounded by family, by love, by people who remembered your name. But for 14 million seniors living alone tonight, that dream has turned into something else entirely. A quiet house, a dark hallway, and the terrifying possibility that the last voice they ever hear will be their own. If this video made you think, please share it. Not for the algorithm, for them. Because the least we can do is stop pretending this is not happening. This is not medical, legal, or financial advice. The purpose of this video is to raise awareness and encourage conversation. Thank you for watching.